Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom in which we take the time to interview CEOs and executives of small-cap public companies that have made great news over the last few days. With us today, I'm happy to have Aaron Friedlander. He's President and CEO of DuSolo Fertilizers. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol DSF. For our friends in the U.S., ELGSF. And for our friends in Europe, the company trades on Frankfurt under the stock symbol E6R. For those of you who want to find the company on the web, you can find them at DuSolo.com. Now, for those of you that are new to the story, DuSolo Fertilizer is a vertically integrated producer of phosphate-based fertilizers in Brazil. The company owns 3 agro-mineral projects within the Cerrado, which is the largest agricultural region in the world. That region creates immense demand for fertilizers that can't be matched by Brazilian supply sources. So DuSolo's goal, amongst many other things, is to increase the supply of domestically produced fertilizers and help the region achieve agricultural self-sufficiency. Now that sounds like a lot, but more than just lip service, the company's actually delivered. The company's producing product, revenue, and cash flow as we speak. Total 2015 sales contracts total approximately $8.5 million. The company's doubling capacity at its processing facility, and it's got all sorts of other great things going on, including the press release last week in which the company announced that they reached full production capacity at their Bomfim Processing Plant. We're here to talk about that, amongst other things, with Aaron. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, George. Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
DuSolo is doing some unbelievable things. Your biggest differentiator, clearly, from other agro-mineral companies are your revenues and your sales contracts. You've got significant sales contracts in place. So let's talk about those first. How big are these contracts, and what does your typical customer look like?
Well, we have customers of all sorts. Basically, we are located in a agriculture-rich area, so we have clients that are small farmers, and we have a very large agriculture co-ops surrounding our project area. We cater all of those potential clients. A typical contract for us would be anywhere between a few hundred tons up to tens of thousands of tons. And the 85,000 tons that we have in terms of signed contracts for delivery this year come from all sorts of farmers, as I explained before.
So talk to me about the magnitude of these contracts. You've already got about $8.5 million in sales contracts in place right now, and you're just beginning your first full year of production. What kind of growth do you anticipate? And I know you can't give specific numbers, but is this just the beginning of a really great story that's already underway?
Yes, we definitely think so. I think when it comes to phosphate, it is very much a location play. And we are located arguably at the best location in the world for this type of commodity. Brazil is a huge consumer of fertilizers. Being a tropical country, the rain washes away the nutrients from the soil. So farmers in Brazil, especially if they are located in areas where they have few planting seasons a year, have to constantly fertilize their soils. And that leads to a very large demand for fertilizers, phosphate in particular.
Now, go ahead, continue.
Brazil is the second largest player in the phosphate global scene. They are the second largest importer of phosphate-based fertilizers. The reason being there's very little phosphate available for local consumers within Brazil. So Brazil basically has to go out and import this material from elsewhere. The fact that we are located within Brazil, within the largest agriculture region in the world, which is in the center of Brazil, provides us with significant advantage over any competitor. And that leads us to believe that we are just at the start of a very good story here. I mean, we believe that the demand for our product is very significant and that we can increase the business year on year quite quickly.
Now, you're almost making the business look too easy. The Cerrado region is a massive agriculture region. It desperately needs fertilizer. You just happen to be there providing it. Is it really that easy at the end of the day? Are the barriers, and what are the barriers to entry? Are there low barriers to entry in terms of being in the region, being able to find the product? How is it that you're able to position the company so well?
It seems easy when I tell the story, but it's not that easy. I think the first barrier to entry is to find a deposit that has a high-grade element within it. This is what we have found with the help of our very capable team of geologists. It is not easy to find phosphate in Brazil, certainly not in the location where we are at the moment. So for someone to basically come in and compete with us on an even keel, they would have to start at the beginning, which is to find a similar deposit. As you and I know, George, it's not easy to find deposits. Deposits are anomaly in nature. So I think in that respect, we start at a very good, with a very good competitive advantage. On top of that, obviously, I'm not going to tell you that it is easy to start selling in the first year of production. You really need to have the contacts and the knowledge of the region and the tastes or the habits of the farmers in the region. And this is exactly what we have been doing in the last couple of years. We've been learning our potential end market. We have recruited people with relevant experience, and I think the results are just starting to show now.
Now, we can't talk about profitability, things like that, because you don't have a feasibility study in place yet. Tell us about why you don't have a feasibility study in place, why strategically it is more important just to get right into getting the product out of the ground, and what can you tell us about profitability in general terms?
Well, our estimate was initially that the market is ripe for the type of product that we are currently producing. We also know that producing the product that we are currently selling is simple and very cost effective. So there was no point to wait for a feasibility study before we start our operation. The total capex to date was only $2 million. With that $2 million, we managed to buy a facility to process the ore, and we are already in production. We expect to have a feasibility study later on down the road, somewhere before the end of the year, based on real numbers from our existing operation, which would give a lot of comfort to investors.
And that really is a great differentiator at the end of the day, because I almost call it small cap 2.0, where in the past companies had to go undertake massive feasibility studies for these really massive projects and not really knowing where it would end up. Here you are, I believe DuSolo is the kind of company that's going to lead this next generation, this next wave in which you find economically feasible deposits and projects, and you move right ahead with them, and then let your feasibility study come after the fact when it's backed up by actual numbers from what you're producing and selling.
Exactly. I think what we need to do here is basically explain the process of delivering the end product. Basically what we do, we scoop the material at surface, we transport it to our facility, which is located 20 kilometers to the south of our mining operation, where we crush it, and we then just pile it for the farmers to come to our facility and pick it up by their own transportation facilities, which is basically trucks. So it is a very simple operation, very easy to implement, and that is why we were successful in entering the production phase within a very short period of time.
Not only a short period of time, but incredibly low capital expenditure, which means you didn't have to be a slave to the market to go out and raise a massive amount of dilutive financing at the end of the day.
Exactly. I mentioned before, $2 million to date in terms of capex.
Unbelievable. Let's go to the last question about growth. You know, every company talks about growth. What gives you the optimism that you're going to be able to create the demand for your product necessary to increase your capacity, your processing facility?
Our location. Our location gives us the optimism that we basically could sell whatever we produce. We talk to the market on a daily basis. We know what the farmers are looking for. We know that we have a significant advantage over our competitors, basically because we are located in an area that is very much inland. So anyone else who would try to bring up competitive products would have to transport the material over 800 kilometers. That leads to very high expenses. Not to mention, if the material comes from overseas, you have importation costs and shipping costs. So at the end of the day, we can sell our product at almost half the price per phosphate point to any one of our competitors. And that leads us to believe that in an area that has such huge demand, we can definitely capture a very large market share within a very short period of time.
Aaron, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to DuSolo, but we're going to leave it at that for now because we want to make sure your investors and the investors on Agoracom had a very good top-line understanding of where you are in terms of production, sales contracts, growth. It all sounds fantastic. I like it. I love it, in fact, not just because you're a sponsor of the site, but also because you're the kind of company that we desperately now need in this, what I call small cap 2.0. You know, small, agile, great cash flow, great revenue, great growth plan, without the need for massive amounts of financing where sometimes that's prohibitive to a project ever getting off the ground. So congratulations on your progress to this point, and I think everyone at home should know we're going to have you on a lot more in the next 12 months as you no doubt are going to be announcing more and more milestones.
Yes, I think that's going to be the case. We expect a lot of news coming out of the company the next few weeks and months, and I'll be happy to be a guest on your show yet again. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, and congratulations to you and your entire team. You've been watching Aaron Friedlander, who's President and CEO of DuSolo Fertilizers. The company trades on the stock symbol DSF on the TSX Venture Exchange. In the U.S., ELGSF. For our friends in Europe on Frankfurt, E6R. For those of you who want to do more due diligence, you can find the company on the web at DuSolo.com or get to Agoracom right now, punch in the company's name or stock symbol, get into the profile section, read all about the information we've got there for you, and then take the time to start having conversations with your fellow investors in a moderated discussion forum. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Make sure you go do your due diligence to DuSolo as soon as we're done, and have a fantastic day.